Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Eilers-Heffner, Sapphire Ambassador. I've been with Plexus for several years now, and I just absolutely love the opportunity that we have with Plexus. I love what we can offer people with products and the financial side of things. And we just talked about this on our book club and just, I'm so honored that I get to show up and teach you. Like, I just feel it, teaching is one of my gifts. And so I'm just honored that I have this opportunity to share with you. And something that just kind of has come up lately, and I feel like I've talked about it before, but it's kind of been a while. And also, I know we have so many new faces. And so I wanted to just kind of review some things, but also have some fresh perspective because every stage of life, I get to continue to work my business, which means I get to share with you things that work from a very practical standpoint. So, something that I just want to talk about is like we've had these great calls. So Tova talked a few weeks ago about how to like organize your day around your IPA, like how to get that IPA done, how to, prep your kids and stuff. So I have some kind of more specifics around that. And then also just last week, how to be organized, how to use your planner, how to use an electronic planner, how to use those the app. This is, I have been up since 4:30, so my words start going down after a certain amount of hours. So I do apologize if I stumble through some word finding difficulty. But and that kind of is one of the things I want to talk about too. So anyway, we've been having these great like things sequentially with our calls, and convention was in there and the convention recap, so we just can build like we have this opportunity to keep building on this knowledge that we keep gaining. So anywho, what I really encourage you to do is just figure out what you need to do in a day. And the first thing that you can do is literally take inventory of your day. Don't try to change a thing. This also comes in handy when you're like start macro counting or just paying more attention to what you're eating, or you decide to use an app to track things. You don't change anything. All you do is put what you're eating into your app. That's it. You just put it in there so you can analyze, and it'll tell you like you've had this many calories and this. Like it does the work for you, right? So if you can find an electronic way to do this with your schedule, please do. I would say just write it down, like get a time block sheet, to get a piece of notebook paper, whatever. Woke up, ate, scrolled, um, played with the kids, worked out, like whatever it is, just write it down with your times. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get that out there and look for things that you could hone in on. And I feel like this when I track, when I'm really diligent about tracking my intake with food, I feel like if we really track our time, we're going to be more aware and use our time more diligently for sure. And so think about just write down what you're doing, see where you're spending time, look on your phone and see how much screen time you've had in a day, because we want to use that information. This isn't to go, oh, I was on my phone for 4 hours today and I only sent 3 messages. I am so horrible and I should have, and I should have, and I should have. That is not what we're doing here. What we're doing is going, oh, I was on my phone for 4 hours today. But what did I do during that 4 hours? Okay, I researched this. I did this. I called the doctor. Like you can also go, oh, I actually was productive. And you also can use that information and go, I was productive, but I think I can be more productive. You're using this as information, not to just shame yourself and go, oh, I'm so terrible because I scrolled and watched the puppy videos. Um, or is that just me, right? So taking that inventory and thinking about where those distractions might be in your day. If you are a person who lets your kids wake you up, I mean, this varies in where you're at with your kids. Like my kids are 10 and up, and so I pretty much have to like get them up. I let them sleep in some days, things like that. My 10-year-old, she's up earlier, one of my boys will get up because he likes to have alone time watching TV in the morning, like whatever. He will kind of schedule himself. But anyway, when they were little, there was definitely a lot of times where I was letting them wake me up. And if you're in that situation, like I feel you, like we need to sleep, we need to rest, we need that too. But when that happens, it sets you up to just be reacting to your day. That is the honest truth. It just sets you up. So if you kind of figure what time your kids get up, set your alarm like 15 or 20 minutes before that and just spend like 15 minutes thinking about a better way to like get up. So maybe spend time with the Lord, even if it's reading two Bible verses and reflecting on those for a minute, saying a quick prayer and starting your brain dump of things to do for the day. So there's different ways of brain dumping. This is very practical. You can brain dump at the beginning of the week. You can brain dump at the beginning of each day. And this is where you're just writing down all those things you want to do, need to do, follow up with, the doctors. This is the other thing, y'all. Have you ever tried to schedule an appointment lately? You try to call the dentist and you call the dentist and then they call you back and then you can't answer them. And then you have to call them back and they don't answer again. And you're like literally just playing phone tag to make an appointment. Like I love it when I call like a new, like whatever. And I'm like, you're a real person. Thank you for answering the phone. Like it's awesome instead of this phone tag. My dog, hold on a second, you guys. You can't do that. Go, go. He has a BALL in that box, and I was trying to like hide my mess back here. And so he's in here wanting it now because he can smell it. And it's like a small squeaky tennis ball that he'll destroy. So I can't give it to him right now without supervision. Um, so anyway, um, brain dumping all of what you need to do, what's literally on your brain. And what I have been doing lately, I talked about this in my stories today. I've been keeping my planner and my Bible with me. So they move around the house with me. They move to the kitchen, they move to my office, they move to the couch. And then usually by bedtime, they don't come with me because I'm exhausted and I'm ready to sleep. But they move around the house with me so that I can stay in the Word. I just leave it open to where I'm reading that day. And then when I start feeling frustrated or something, I just go back to that. And then talking about appointments, this is getting really hard to read, so I need to get into the eye doctor. Thankfully, I have an appointment. And then my planner is here so I can write those ideas down because is it a pain to carry my planner around the house with me? Absolutely. But you know what's even worse is when I forget the ideas that I have and I want to write them down. So I just make it happen. And where do moms spend their time? Like kitchen? Usually kitchen kind of, right? Like that's kind of where we are a lot of the day. When I very first started this business, I put my dream board goals in the laundry room because I was solely responsible for so much of the laundry that I'm like, that is where I spend a lot of time. Now that they're older, they're doing a lot of the laundry. But anyway, so with that brain dump, right? Then you can take that list and go, okay, these are my top 3 priorities for today. You can, I divide this into categories. So I have my top 3 business goals. I have my top 3 personal goals and my top 3 family goals. Now, here's the thing. If we're spending the day at the pool or we're spending the day at a water park or spending the day at the zoo or something, like that 3 family things have become one. Like that is the family event. So I don't feel I need to, this isn't extraneous. And if 3 isn't gonna work for whatever reason, maybe they're bigger goals too. If I'm like every single person in my downline needs to know about the skincare, everyone that I'm responsible for communicating with, like that's like a pretty big goal for the day. And then of course I'm gonna do my social media stuff and send a couple messages, but that may not be the day where I'm like sending out 10 new contacts. It's gonna vary. Or if you're a person that like literally wants to split it up, so you're sending 10 new contacts and 5 of your with your downline, like you do you. But I'm just saying this is one way to do it is your IPA can vary slightly in order to hit those priorities through the end of the week. So by the end of the week, you've done all the things. Anyway, the other thing I want you to think about, especially when you have little kids, I think, is like not doing every little thing, especially if you have a lot of kids. Like, you don't have to go to every party, every beach, every pool, every, and you don't have to sign them up for every sport out there. This is something you need to talk about with your family, with your spouse, figure out what your priorities are. But what I have found is that when we're building this business and we have all these other responsibilities until our business is at a point where we can drop, say, a full-time job. So I've worked full-time, I've worked weekends, I've not worked, I've done it all through the course of my business. And so, and plus, even before I started with Plexus, as a family, we didn't want to just, with 4 kids, we didn't want to run to a different event in a different sport every single night or have 3 sports going on the same night. That just wasn't something we wanted for our family. So if that is exciting to you and you want to do it, that's fine, but you still are going to have to find time for your IPA. And so thinking about, like, again, taking that inventory and figuring that out. I think too, like, I've been listening a lot to Ed Milet, right? If you went to convention, I'm sure you are too. And so we're always fighting this comfort. Like, it is super comfortable to like lay in your bed and just enjoy the comfort of your bed. This is like adulting, like 100%. Like, this feels so good when you've reached that amount of pleasure from that comfort, right? And so and that's just an example. So we're always having to fight this, like, well, it's comfortable to not send a message and for someone to potentially like be rude to me. Well, it's comfortable, but what about these people that need this and that are missing it and you're not talking to? And you know what? These people that are rude and stuff, like, it doesn't matter. Like, people are rude at the grocery store, you guys. I'm a physical therapist. You know what I did in the hospital? I'm like, okay, you have all these things poking out of your body in this huge like cage on your leg, and we're going to get out of the bed and go to the bathroom. They're like, yeah, right. Like, you think I haven't heard objections before? I've heard it all. You've heard it all from your kids. You've heard it all from your spouse, I'm sure, at some point, right? Like, we deal with objections all the time. So don't let someone's unhappiness affect you when you're finding those people that are like, thank you for sharing these products with me, because now I no longer pass out at work and no longer have debilitating migraines and. Okay, 15-minute timer. I talked about this on my social media last week or so. The 15-minute timer has not been set for my office, even though that was my plan to do over the last week or so, but I'm like hitting icon hard. I'm like, let's get these messages out. I'm so passionate about that. So guess what? The box with the dog ball in it can sit there and it can just be there. It's not hurting anything. And if this like literally drives you insane, you're going to have to set a 15-minute timer and deal with it so you can move on to being productive. But working hard for 15 minutes on whatever it is. So maybe you're feeling whatever you're feeling. Doesn't matter what you're feeling, as long as you examine those feelings and move beyond it if they're negative, or if they're, I'm excited, I'm going to send these messages as quickly as I can. Let's see if I can send 10 new messages in 15 minutes. Like, harness that excitement. Or I'm dreading cleaning my office. Let me set a 15-minute timer and get done as much as I can in that 15 minutes. This goes either way, right? Whether it's an exciting thing we're doing or something we aren't wanting to do. And I loved how Eric Worre introduced this. Like, we've talked about this before too. Like, he was saying this training that he's doing that starts tomorrow evening, right, is worth $1,000. So if you were to pay that $1,000 to have this training, how would you be working your business? Like, are you working like, I have to pay off this $1,000 investment? Am I putting in that amount of effort, or are you kind of taking it for granted? Or are you kind of just like still on the outside, right? Put yourself in the situation of, I spent $1,000 on this training and I need to earn $1,000 to pay it off. Put yourself in that situation. Or back in the day with Plexus, we did not get pay points when someone signed up. We had a building business bonus for them starting. We did not get those pay points. So we honestly worked very hard to make sure people had their subs on. So if we were planning on a rank up, we didn't plan a rank up for the month. We planned the rank up for the following month based on, okay, I need 5 joins this month, and all 5 of them are going to have their subscriptions on next month, and that will push me to this rank up, right? And so if you were to set aside the money from your pay points, so say you have 5 people join you in July, set aside those pay points, that money, and don't spend it until their sub goes off in August. Because then I guarantee you will work harder to make sure that they have received customer service and that they've been taken care of and that they're happy and that they're getting results that they're looking for, because you know that your paycheck is dependent on that subscription going off next month. So thinking of yourself. Talking about distractions too, like I don't want you to like hate your life. So I do get distracted by puppy videos, but what I allow is I allow like 3 scrolls on my phone, and then I'm like, okay, that's 3. I'm done. I'm moving on to my work, get to work. And when I've set a goal for work, okay, I'm going to send 5 messages. Now I get to scroll 3 more times. I think it was the Game of Conquering where he talked about eating a Skittle for every like so many calls that he made or something like that, contacts. I can't remember the book, but there was some guy that was like eating a Skittle for every so many contacts. So if you have to reward yourself with something, like do it. It's okay. Allow yourself that reward for your work. Um, and then, okay, now I'm just referring to my notes. Sorry. Okay, so I love that we can just examine and use that information to make changes. That's what life is all about, right? What's working in my marriage? What isn't working in my marriage? Take the inventory, make changes, move on, and reevaluate. That's life. And that works with our careers, it works with our kids, it works in relationships, and it works here. And it works with scheduling your time. The other thing I want you to think about there's this concept called tiger hours. I think this is I introduced this like so long ago as a podcast I listened to so long ago. And it's really talking about when are you most alert and ready to work and energized, and you know, what a time of day is that for you? So are you spending that time when you're like, I am ready, I'm on the ball, I'm thinking clearly, like cleaning your toilets and folding your laundry? Or are you spending that time sending those messages or going live in your stories, or, you know, leaving voicemails? Like, when are you using those hours? Because you definitely don't want to use your tiger hours for things that you can do in your sleep, like folding laundry, doing dishes, stuff like that. Using those tiger hours, this is why I'm like word finding difficulty, because my tiger hour is not 9 o'clock at night, especially getting up so early. But thinking about that, like when can you use that brain power? Use it to do your IPA. And then practicality. So I do not have to get up this early in the morning during the summer. My kids don't have somewhere to be right away. I don't have to be anywhere right away. But we inadvertently switched gym locations, and my friends were going super early, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go alone to a brand new gym, even though I probably would, because I'm not too afraid of those situations. But we decided to go together. I'm like, all right, I'm going to suck it up. So here I am getting up so stinking early in the summer, but I'm loving it. I mean, I do not like getting up that early, but once I'm up, I am like worked out, walked the dog, listened to a podcast, sent some messages, showered, and ate breakfast all before 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, that's such a great feeling, right? Then I'm like, I can conquer the world because I've already conquered so much. Ed Milet talks about this. I believe it's Ed Milet. It's either him or Craig Rochelle, about having like 3 days in your day. So you have like, you break your time up and like, this is a full day. So what I did between 4:30 and 8 a.m. was a full day, right? Like, look how much I accomplished. Now I have this next block of 4 hours. Well, what can I accomplish in that 4 hours? And then you have your next 4 hours. The other thing is there are times where you're going to Block out time for your family. Time blocking is another thing that people really, really enjoy. And I could probably do it better now in this stage of life. But when my kids were little, I really did a flow of the day. So hard stops were meal times and nap times. And then there were things that we accomplished in between. So went outside, ate a snack, played toys, did the chores in between there. And my kids like were just with me when they were little. Like they were with me. Here's your washcloths to fold. Here's your socks to match. Here's your shirts to fold or your pants. Like pants were easier. Did they fold things perfectly? No, but it got them into this mindset that they're helping and they're contributing and that they can learn. And so my kids were just with me and we just did everything together. My house, my kid bathroom, the kid bathroom was so much cleaner because I was actually in there. Now I'm never in there. So then I'm like, peek my head in there. I'm like, you guys are disgusting. Like, you need to clean this, right? Like, it's so funny how things change. But um, setting up your day when you have calls like this. So today, I think most of us in Inspire have a book club either before or after this call. And so this is happening on Tuesday. It's a set thing, like this is what we're doing. We have the Plexus calls for 15 minutes on Monday and Thursday, and then tomorrow starts the Eric Worre calls on Wednesdays for the month of July. And then, I'm pretty sure those will just be done. But we know that these things are happening. So whatever age your kids are, like my oldest, I'm like, hey, come home at 5:30 so that we can do these things. And then she inadvertently didn't. And I'm like, she's like, well, I'll be home and then we can do it. And I'm like, no, we can't. Like, I have a commitment. So your window for this is closed now for today. And we've put this off now, right? Like now it's kind of a bigger problem, but that's the natural consequence, learning and all of that. But I'm like, this is why I wanted you home at a certain time, is so I could devote that time to you. So whatever age your kids are, whatever's going on, you can prep your family. For little kids, if I had a call at 8:30 and then at 9 that I needed to be on, as long as they were not like, if they missed naps or something like that, I would put them to bed early in a situation like this. If I didn't have a husband home or somebody to kind of help, or if everything went as scheduled for the day, I would figure out, I'd have like a couple things. I would either let them watch a show during this time if I needed to be undisturbed, or I would say, here's these special toys that you don't normally get that you get to play with during this time. Or I would lay in bed with them and be on a call listening, and they would listen with me, right? Whatever it is, I would definitely take these calls, and I still do, very seriously to be on. And it's hard sometimes. Like we got sporting events during the school year that don't end until 9 o'clock. And so you just get on. Okay, headphone in, whatever it is. And that goes too with when you want to get your IPA done, like, okay, you worked all day. What activities can these kids do for 30 minutes while I do IPA? Maybe they can play at the water table and you can watch them. Maybe they can sit at the table with you and they can play Play-Doh or do water painting or something like that, while you're getting your IPA done. And here's the thing, like you get to show them. I liked when my kids were real little too, like I liked to have my computer out so I could say, this is the mama I'm talking to, and she has bad migraines and headaches. So we want to pray for her. And like, look, this is her and this is her kid, so that my kids could see that this is a real thing. This isn't me on my computer watching YouTube or playing Candy Crush. Like I'm talking to real people. Look at her little girl. Look at her little boy. Finding toy sets that my kids really liked that I could say, okay, it's time for you too, and I would direct their playtime to something that they could all do together, like the big wooden train sets and the blocks. Like my kids would build these huge villages and happily play for a long time. And I could do IPA and I could still interact with them, right? Like it wasn't like I was gone to work at the hospital and unavailable to them. I could still enjoy them playing and answer their questions, or, help them go potty or something and still get my work done. And I think that we do this business because we like that flexibility of being available to our families, but we can't not do the business if we want to have the freedom to be available to our families. And there's very few times where you really like cannot be interrupted, right? Like even a call like this, if your little kid wakes up or something, like scoop them in on your lap. If you don't want them on the video or whatever, turn your video off for a few minutes, whatever you need to do. But I tell you what, it is really, really hard when you get a call while you're away at work outside of the home that your little baby is throwing up and you're like at 9 months old and you're worried, like, are they going to get dehydrated? Like, what do I need to do? If I can't leave because I don't have PTO because I just had a maternity leave, a few months ago, like all this stress involved with that, that is super stressful. But being able to be intentional with your time and being creative to find ways to work around. And hey, if you're like, I don't have little kids, I don't know why she's wasting my time with all of this. Guess what? You're going to have someone in your life on your team that's going to need these tips. And they kind of still apply to older kids. My 13-year-old today, well, he's almost 13. He's in the summer, he turns 13. And I'm like, what do you want? Do you want the dominoes, the science kit, or the this or the this? Like you're playing with something because you're not getting on a screen, you've gone fishing, you've gone for a run, like you've done all these things. So now I'm going to direct your creativity so that, and it will breed more creativity. So even these tips work for these little bit older kids too. But I just really encourage you to be blessed by this opportunity to be available. But no, if you don't work your business, then what? Then what? Are you going to go to work? You're going to go leave your kids entirely and be gone outside of the home? Or are you going to figure out a way to work it while you're with them and bring in that income so you can continue to do that? So anyway, hope that this was helpful. Thank you for bearing with me. I really appreciate it. And I will talk soon. So have a good night.